Part 3, Planning Instruction.
So after we made that decision, things started to get a little bit better because I think we sat down and said, okay, we all need to know where we're at, where we're going. And so part of the frustration went away. Some of it stayed, and that was more on my part because when you're teaching class and it's like, okay, that didn't go very well today, I'm changing lesson plans tomorrow. Oh, I can't do that because I have a student and he needs it in Braille and he's not going to have it because she's not here. I don't know how to Braille. What am I going to do? So some of the adjustments, so sometimes it was like, well, I had to figure out something else he could do or make an alternate. So it was actually I'm making my own lesson plan plus the lesson plan for him. So that was more frustrating than anything else because it's always like one more thing I had to do. As the course went on, we found more and more mistakes in the Braille book that he was using. He'd come in the morning. Now we were into 7:15 in the morning, and he would stay almost for 45 minutes. So it was almost like a one-on-one with him then. Then I had him in class, and then I would also meet with him 7th period. So it was almost 3 times a day. And it was a very slow process. You have to be very patient, and at the beginning you don't understand, well, why can't they see that? Well, a couple times I just got so frustrated, and I finally just tell me, what does that say there? He goes, it says A. I go, well, tell me what it says over here. He goes, A. Well, then they brailled it wrong, and it wasn't happened once or twice. We're up to 10 times, and it was whoever brailled that book. So it wasn't his fault, it wasn't my fault, but because I can't read that, and he didn't realize that they're both the same. Well, I guess he only found the one. As soon as he found where A was, he assumed it was there. Well, when I asked him to go somewhere else, then he goes, oh no, there's another one. So I'm not knowing if we're looking at 2 different diagrams or what. So we found out that there were mistakes there. So we had to be careful there. So I got to the point where I tried to plan ahead of time and have models, as many models that he could handle as possible, and sometimes that's not real easy. And we worked with WikiSticks. I didn't know those existed until I talked to the blind itinerant and I said, you know, I just don't know how to make these models anymore. And she goes, oh, don't you have a set of WikiSticks? And I go, I don't even know what they are. And so communication again, I mean, she had a lot of things that I didn't know existed. And so I kind of had to ask then after learning to ask, do you have something that does this? So we even went to marshmallows and making things that he could take apart, put back together. But again, I mean, we're talking 4 months of the school year and I not know what a WikiStick was pretty tough. As the year went on, it got tougher and tougher and tougher. I started writing more multiple choice questions, really altering the test a lot, because now we're into 3-dimensional figures. Flat figures are great. 3-dimensional figures aren't going to happen. Almost impossible there's no way you can show them on a flat sheet of paper what a lot of kids cannot read a 3-dimensional picture off of a flat sheet of paper because they don't understand the dotted lines or whatever. Now I'm asking somebody to feel with their hand, and it really was a lot of problems. So we got a lot of 3-dimensional figures out and so on. He still didn't quite get it. So we were still into every single morning almost seeing me. So I think this is a lot of work. And I finally went to my department chair and I just said, you know, this is way too much, and I'm not getting extra pay, release time or anything. So they did relieve me of my duty 3 days a week. So I could, that time was spent planning what he would do in place of what we were doing. But he would, you know, listen to the discussions in class, participate in the discussions in class. He would just have a different set of homework problems. And the aide, I gave her a copy of the book with the answers, and she'd check it every day. So that worked out great. It got better as the year went along, but very, very frustrating. I found out a lot about how to use different different objects just so he could get across what I was talking about, me get across to him what I was talking about. And the other kids in class were pretty good. I've used cooperative learning, pairs and everything else. It was very difficult to put him in a pair, so he would be with the aide most of the time, which at the beginning with the adults was not a good idea because he just didn't want to, he wanted to be with somebody his age. So the student aide worked out great, and I think he felt better at that point working with somebody his own age and somebody that could explain things to him when he couldn't figure it out. When you put him with another student, the other student I think was afraid sometimes too that they would lead him down the wrong path.